The Dodgers are bad for baseball. Really? So, for anyone that doesn't know, yesterday we had witnessed the official presentation of new Japanese pitcher Roki Sasaki introduced as a Los Angeles Dodger. So, the Dodgers accomplished adding another piece to this heavily juggernaut team that is just building a dynasty for the next 5 to 10 years. So, before we get into are the Dodgers bad for baseball, first like and subscribe, support the channel. Hopefully we can get some more subscribers. Hopefully I can build some more content for you, so that way I am able to give you as best content about different things, sports betting as possible. So let's get into it. So the Dodgers, make this signing official. They also added Tanner Scott as a reliever. And throughout this whole process, I kind of knew my best guesstimation that the Dodgers would sign Roki Sasaki simply because there were a couple of mitigating factors that favored the Dodgers. One, location. Location was very, very important because the West Coast, as a proximity to Japan, is closer than if you were living on the East Coast going to Japan. I think that was a little bit of a factor. The second is, I think having two Japanese players on the team definitely helps. I know that what was explained in the press conference that said that didn't matter, that there was some other factors, and that could be probably true, but it can't deny that being comfortable with two other players that speak your language definitely could be a factor in why the Dodgers would sign Roki Sasaki. And then also the stability. I know he mentioned the stability of the front office and how the whole thing is structured, and I think they got a great clubhouse. I think that's a little bit of a factor, not so much of a main factor that he explained in his interview press conference yesterday. I don't think that's a big factor like he mentioned, like the number one thing, but I thought that also was part of his decision, because when it came down to the final three, Toronto, San Diego, and Los Angeles, let's face it, the Toronto Blue Jays, I don't think were going to be a factor at all. The geographics were too far, in my opinion. They don't even have Vladdy Guerrero signed. So if you don't even have your best player signed to a long-term deal, what makes you think that if I'm a Japanese superstar that's 23 years old, is going to be there for the next 6 years, that the pieces around me are going to be there? And then last, the San Diego Padres, who basically gambled in signing all these contracts and going over the threshold at a certain point to try to win the World Series. And to me, their best shot to win the World Series was last year, and they didn't. And now they got to cut payroll, and now they got an ownership dispute because the owner recently passed away, leaving the widow fighting with two brothers for sole ownership of the franchise, and that's just instability. And I couldn't see Roki Sasaki signing with the San Diego Padres. So for me, as a Dodger fan, I'm excited. I mean, it's a juggernaut. I know what it feels to be like the Yankees 20 years ago. And I'll get to a lot of the whining that Yankees fans like to make about what's going on right now. But I do want to mention this one part, that there's been one particular reporter that has been hating on the entire process that the Dodgers could get Roki Sasaki, and that is Jim Bowden. From the moment this guy has been reporting on the Roki Sasaki, since the moment it was posted, he has been hating of the fact that he didn't give basically the Dodgers maybe not a slight shot to even landing this kid. I mean, he would say in his opinions in different interviews that, oh, why would he go there? That why would he play with other Japanese players? The ability to prove himself, which it could be true, but at no point did I hear that the Dodgers were in a nice position, a comfortable position, as opposed to a lot of probably executives along the league that probably had it in their minds that the Dodgers had basically were going to be in on this kid. They were in on this kid 6 years ago when he was 19 years old. They had been following and monitoring this kid for a long, long time. So I can't imagine why that wasn't even mentioned at all. And it wasn't. And then once he was signed, he goes on MLB and says that the owners are complaining, and then they want to launch an investigation if there was some handshake deal under the table, and to see if there was any wrongdoing by the Dodgers, which is totally ridiculous. It's disingenuous, it's stupid, and it's completely naive. So, I mean, they could launch an investigation and do whatever they want. A Japanese player that wants to be in close proximity to his country and wants to play with two other Japanese teammates, that speak the same language as him. No, yeah, let's launch an investigation. There's got to be some wrongdoing there. Of course it is. But once again, I mean, his reporting has been very conflicting at best. And he was the one that predicted Nolan Arenado would come to the Dodgers. That didn't happen either, so I get it. But he looked like he'd been hating throughout the entire thing. So that's just simply ridiculous to me. And then let's get on to this subject that everybody's been talking about. The Dodgers just their open checkbook that they can buy anybody out. It's checkbook baseball, and the Dodgers are now the evil empire. And then complaints from other ball clubs around the league that they got to do something about this. It was funny though. 20 years ago, when the Yankees were doing this in the early 2000s, nobody was saying a word about this other than Red Sox fans, that the Yankees were buying up all the superstars, and nobody mentioned that the league and the commissioner should do something about it. But now all of a sudden, that's become a subject, and the least likely people that should be complaining about this are Yankees fans. You got to be ashamed of yourself. When you guys had everybody you wanted, anybody you wanted, you could pay any pitcher you wanted, and you were beating down the Red Sox, and you were collecting championships and going to the playoffs every year and sniffing titles every single year, you guys soaked it all up. So spare me with that crap. Spare me with that crap. Dude, cry me a river and spare me your tears, because your team isn't what it was. Don't blame us. Don't blame the Dodgers on this one, okay? And besides, you have nothing to worry about. You are the favorites to win the American League again. I got to admit, I didn't believe you can get to the World Series. I didn't even think you can win the division, because I had Baltimore to win the division at plus 186, according to Caesars before the season started, on a future bet over the Yankees at plus 180, because I thought it was a trap, because I didn't think Garrett Cole, after coming back missing the first 3 months of the season, was going to make up the difference. I thought you guys were going to fall behind. And God bless that you guys had Luis Hill, who ended up winning the American Rookie of the Year, saved your asses in the beginning of the season, and that's why you were able to win the division. I thought you guys were a bunch of frauds, but you guys proved me wrong, I gotta admit. And then yet the Yankees, who had an accessible road to get to the World Series, you guys had nothing to complain about. You just ran into a very good team. It was proven that all your flaws showed. Well, you don't know how to base run. You don't know how to play defense. And then you lose Juan Soto, and it turns out to be a blessing in disguise. You signed Max Fried. You traded for Bellinger. You get Paul Goldschmidt. You get Devin Williams. I would have taken those four instead of a Juan Soto deal any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So trust me, you guys are in a prime position. You have nothing to complain about. All you have to do is get to the dance. You just got to get to the World Series. And who knows? If we don't get there, maybe you can win it. You're just expecting that everybody's expecting that the Dodgers can make the World Series 10 years in a row. Could be, maybe, if they play at their maximum potential, maybe they can make it every single year. But that's not going to happen, because that's not the way baseball is. But you guys want to complain that they're getting all the best players. Well, let's just say that the front office has been not only one step, but 2 steps ahead of all the MLB rules by deferring their money. See, had the Yankees figured that out, then you guys would be in a prime position to save money and collect more players. Had other franchises that decided to do that with money, because a lot of owners have a lot of money. I know that there's levels to this, but I noticed that a lot of the owners are fairly cheap anyways. So the reason this is a problem for Major League Baseball and all the other owners is the Dodgers are rocking the boat, because they're spending and reinvesting on what they're making as a franchise while the other ones don't, and the other owners like to pocket the money. They don't want their fans to start pressuring them. Hey, if these guys can go get players, why are we not signing anybody? Why are we not bolstering our pitching? If I'm in the American League and I'm the Royals or the Tigers, why am I not going after some more pieces if we can get to a World Series if the only team maybe standing in the way are the Yankees? But they're not doing it. That's why. But they blame the Dodgers because they're the ones that are handling their business the way they're supposed to do it. And that sucks on all you guys. You guys as fans should be pressuring your ownership, pressuring that front office. Hey, if we're close to getting to a World Series or to make the playoffs or whatever your goals are, why ain't they not trying? But damn, you're willing to spend that $100 ticket to sit wherever you would like to sit, in the luxury seats or in a suite or whatever, or buy that merchandise that's fairly expensive and expect very little from your franchises. That's on you, okay? Dodgers do expect a lot. And by the way, I remember as a Dodger fan where we were suckered for many years. Any Dodger fans out there, show me in the comments, how many years did we suffer through Frank McCourt's cheap ass? Think about that. Frank McCourt was using the Dodgers and the profiting off the Dodgers to fulfill his lifestyle. And it was a mess. We saw what happened. People weren't going to the stadiums until finally we took a stand and we weren't going to the stadiums, as there were more cops at Dodger Stadium than fans. It looked like a prison when we were walking in there. And I worked at Dodger Stadium. So I understand how that felt. I understand how that felt that they brought in Paul DePodesta to be the general manager, and we're signing guys like Jose Valentin and JD Drew. And I'll tell you what, though, I mean, I'll say this one thing about JD Drew. They paid this guy $11 million a year, 6 years, $66 million. And to me, he was the most unpassionate player I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I can't stand that dude. I'm sorry. I mean, he might be a professional, whatever. But, dude, you show no passion, and that makes me sick. And to wear that Dodger uniform and play the way you did, yeah, you're probably talented, but to show no passion disgusts me. But back to what I was saying. Frank McCourt led us through some dark years. He was being cheap. He didn't care about winning. He cared about profiting. And then, by the way, when he had to sell the team to the Guggenheim Group, thank God for the Guggenheim Group, that changed Dodger baseball forever. Now we're at this golden age. You know, everybody could wish to have ownership like that. You know, to have giveaways. Yeah, the tickets are more expensive, but the product on the field is great. And we're willing to pay for a good product. We're willing to pay more. We're willing to go out there and sell it out. We sell it out every single year. We average $3 million every single year. We pay. But we want to pay for something good. And that's what the Guggenheim Group is doing. You know, we suffered through the previous ownership. It was trash. But, you know, everybody else, oh, they got to do something. Okay, let's say they do something. Let's say they do a hard cap. The collective bargaining agreement ends in 2027. So then what happens? We want to do a hard cap. The players union, who's a strong players union, could say, you know what? Screw it. We're not going to play. We deserve our money. And besides, if you can't discipline yourselves to control the market, that's on you. And are the owners willing to miss a full season? I mean, the owners did mention during the COVID season that they barely made it through. So they're willing to go through a full year of possibly not playing? You really think they're going to do that? No, they're not. Because billionaires are about the bottom line. See, billionaires think totally different from everybody else. You got to understand that. They only think about their bottom line. And they have more to lose. So when they lose money, when they lose 20% of their business, they're losing millions of dollars. This isn't like me and you working hard, and if I lose 20%, I'll lose a couple $100. It doesn't work that way. So that's why they're concerned. But that they're rocking the boat. Yeah, they're rocking the boat because they don't want their fan base to start poking at them and say, hey, there's some players out there that need to be signed. We're probably close to make the playoffs. Why are you not trying to pull the trigger on any of these guys? That's on them. That is on them. So stop blaming the Dodgers and saying that it's bad for baseball, because 20 years ago, when the Yankees were buying up all the players, nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing. Now the Dodgers are doing it in the smart way, and they're willing to pay the tax. Do you understand that the Dodgers are so far over the threshold on this soft, cap, which you pay $1 for every dollar you're over $304 million in payroll? $1 million, 100%. That means for every dollar they pay that they're over that limit, they're paying a full dollar on. Now times that by hundreds of millions of dollars. They're paying that. They agree to pay that. You know why? Because they know they can get that money back. These hedge funds are smart. They know how to make money. By deferring the money, they're saying, we're buying this stock low. We're investing in this player low, like Shohei Ohtani. At the end of the day, is going to probably be the greatest contract in baseball history. And saying, if you defer this money now, we're betting on you right now. We're betting on you low. But the height of what you could be worth is going to be so much more. I had already made our money back that I'll be able to pay you not only your money, I'll make my money back too. And they agree. That's how it works. So if more teams were to think that way, those billionaires would probably make more money. It's like investing in a stock when it's low and you're knowing it's going to go up. For the people that are into investing, is for the people that invested in Nvidia last year before it went up, and then obviously it did a stock split of 3-1 or 10-1. I mean, it's the same thing. If you invested in Nvidia early or Tesla early and you think it's going to be fine, you know what? I'll give you the money. Just I'll pay you later. And then when I make money off of you and endorsements and all these deals that the Dodgers were making, which I heard they made a lot of money in just Japanese endorsements, in partnerships, that paid for 1 year of Ohtani's salary. It paid for itself. And they're going to be able to give him his money down the line later. And all these guys. And if they continue to win championships, the tickets are going to be more expensive. The products are going to be more expensive. The merchandise is going to be more expensive. We're not living in a world where things are going to get cheaper, people. They're going to get more expensive. And the Dodgers know that. And they're going to pocket every single penny and take advantage of every single opportunity they get. And if the other owners are smart, they would do the same thing. The Dodgers have made it clear that the Japanese player has a lot of value. They started with Ohtani. They even started in 95 with Nomo. They started with Ohtani. Had the Angels been smart enough to sign Ohtani and had a better marketing strategy, they would be in the position the Dodgers are now. But they're not. Just by Ohtani alone, other players want to play with him. Older players that are at their back end of their career want to get to the Dodgers because they can win a championship. They just want that ring. They played a strong career. You know what? I don't mind playing a role. It's no different in basketball, by the way. When that veteran who was a superstar once in his career decides to play a role on a championship team to get a ring. What have the Dodgers done for pitchers lately? They do repair them, then they fix them to the point that they get a big contract somewhere else. They've done that. Same thing with hitters. Ask JD Martinez. And then he leaves to the Mets, and we bring Teoscar Hernandez. And then he loved it so much, he wanted to stay. We were willing to give him a contract, and he accepted. With deferrals, of course. So, are the Dodgers really bad for baseball? They're going to be the greatest road show in the country. When you go to Miami, You watch the Marlins, and the Marlins don't spend any money. They're basically at the bottom of the payroll. At the bottom of the payroll. But when those Dodgers come, man, they're going to fill up the stadium. And Dodger fans are starting to travel well. They are traveling wherever the team travels. So that ownership, those ticket sales are going to go up. How many Dodger fans you think, when they come into your city and that ownership, check the ticket prices. Cincinnati Reds fans, Cubs fans, Tigers fans. When the Dodgers come to your city, check the prices of those tickets. Man, they're pretty high, I bet. Especially if you got Ohtani coming in your city. They're going to take advantage. Is it really bad for baseball? Think about that. If you're in Pittsburgh, besides Paul Skeens pitching, let's say Paul Skeens is not pitching, and the Dodgers are coming to your city for a 3-game series, how much are those tickets going to be? You think the ownership is going to take advantage of that? Of course they are. Of course they are. So before everybody starts panicking that the Dodgers are bad for baseball and they're outspending everybody, well, give me the chances that the highest payroll in baseball wins the World Series every year. And the team with the best record wins the World Series every year. That doesn't happen. It's normally like a hot team in the playoffs. The Dodgers, as good as they've been for the past 10 years, have only won the World Series twice. So now all of a sudden we just bulk up in more pay. We're just gonna roll out another 4. Yeah, I would love it as a Dodgers fan. That'd be great. I believe they're gonna go back to back because I think that the Dodgers winning this first World Series the way they did, with all the pressure of the fans trying to win it besides 2020 and these claims that it was a shortened season, a COVID season, so it didn't count. So winning this with all the pressure that they had, and they did it with the limited pitching that they had, the weight is off their shoulders. Now they can go out there and have fun and still win the World Series and still have some space with the fans, and they won't feel indebted because they know that team is going to be good every year. So for Dodger fans, we're great. Are we going to keep pressing them? We're not panicked. Getting Ohtani the way they did is a product of all the failures that they've been having the past few years. The first round exits, the failures winning the World Series. Yes, they were cheated by the Houston Astros, by the way, in that World Series. But nobody cares. Yeah, we still call them cheaters, but it's still the same. They still won. So all the past failures led them to say, we want that guy. I guarantee you, had the Dodgers won already 2-3 World Series, you think they're thinking about getting Ohtani? Yeah, they could. But because they were so pressured on winning that World Series and they kept failing, they said, we got to get the ultimate guy. So if we had to do it all over again, I'd probably want it this way. Because the next 5 years, we're going to be there. But there's no guarantee they'll win it. So you guys need to stop complaining about, oh, they have a big advantage. They still got to play the field. Yes, they're going to be favored in every betting line. They're going to be favored in every single game this season. They are the favorites to win the whole thing at plus 300, and I will put some money on them on that. Then put some money on the American League champion. Put your money on the Yankees. They have the best shot to get to the World Series. Put your money on Houston if you think Houston will get there. Put a little money on a different team in the National League just in case, the Dodgers are upset. Do that. And then you're going to notice, then when you guys are laughing at Dodger failures, then you'll get your comeuppance. But at the moment, gonna have to play the games on the field, and everybody's still got to be healthy. Yes, they have the most talent. Yes, they have the most depth. You still got to play. And if you're in the American League, you ain't got to worry about the Dodgers. You just got to worry about winning the division and winning the playoffs and winning the American League pennant. And then if the Dodgers are there, then you figure it out then. But as of right now, the Dodgers are not bad for baseball. They're actually not. They're pretty good for baseball, because for the players, it should be good. And for the fans, for the rest of you fans, you should be challenged to challenge your front office to say, why are we not getting better? Figure that out. So let me know in the comments. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with me. Are the Dodgers good for baseball? Dodger fans comment. You know what it was during the Frank McCourt years? Let me know. Put it on there. Explain to the rest of the world what we suffered to get to this point. Trust me. And I know the rest of you fans around the league that are small market teams, you guys are suffering at the moment and you guys have suffered longer. I get that. But let me know in the comments. Dodger fans, let me know in the comments. Okay? Like and subscribe. Let me know. And see you next time.